And good evening, my friends. Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live right here on Mike Avery Outdoors. This is on the Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page, the YouTube channel, Twitter, the Vimeo page, working on getting it over to the website, and also over to Instagram. Once Instagram makes that function available, right now we still can't do it. It's a function of the StreamYard. I think it's Instagram actually blocking it. We're glad to have you along with us tonight. Good evening, John. How are you? Always a pleasure to have you along with us. Hello, Eric. Good evening. How are you on what is a beautiful evening in my part of the world here in the central part of Michigan? Hello, Lori. How are you? Going to talk about you tonight, Lori, and we're going to show a picture of you, if I can figure out how to do it, with one of those big cats. Bernie, good evening. How are you? Kevin. Good evening, Kevin. How are you? Mike checking in from the water's edge at Drummond Island where you're catching some beautiful walleye. Nice catch there, Mike. How cool is that? Hey, Bill. Mark, good evening. Jim checking in from Tennessee. Rich, how are you? Jim Goss, as always, a pleasure. Craig, nice to have you along with us as well. This is, by the way, something I do every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We've been doing it for the last couple of years or so. Sometimes in the summertime, we switch it back to 8 o'clock because people are out doing things. But this year, we're just sticking with 7 o'clock. Not many. I take it you're talking about perch, or you're talking about Mike's walleye catch. I'm hoping you got not many perch, but good size. Ed Bolanowski from Speedy Blaze grilling up some fresh Hubbard Lake walleye and zucchini squash in my garden. Good to be you, Ed. It is good to be you, and glad to have you along with us. Eric just got back from fishing the Saginaw River. Eric, I think my plans, since I can't watch any college football on Saturdays this fall, are going to be fishing the Saginaw River for walleye. Excited to hear Lori's story. Of course, Lori was on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. She's in the first hour. Good evening, Craig. How are you? I love it when you call me Captain Mike. Ahoy there, mateys. And Adam, nice to have you along with us as well. Perch. Yes, I figured it was perch. So not many perch, but good size. Excellent. Excellent. That'll be my next trip. I'm done fishing walleye on the bay for the summer. It's just that season's over for me. But it was a good season. For me, I had a really good season. A good catch, some great times on the water with some great people. Speaking of great people, Tim Ellicott's with us this evening. Mark Young is with us as well. Oh, I'm just getting a text from RJ Meyer. I won't show you, but he says, I think it's the first time in 16 years that he's not going to be bear hunting somewhere in Canada. This is the first time in at least 12 years I won't be heading for White River, Ontario to bear hunt with somebody in White River. Ron St. Louis most recently. Martin, what did you say here? Kings are running. You'll be heading out of Lake Michigan to South Haven at 0600. That's on Sunday the 16th. That's this Sunday. Perch and minnow supply. Perch coming in and minnow supply is running low. Hey, Mike. Haven't seen you for a while, buddy. Haven't heard from you. How are you? I hope everything is good with you. Mike Thompson, a friend of mine, don't be calling me, especially somebody I don't know. I was with Mike when he got his first bear. I wasn't sitting in the blind with him. Johnny Bowler. Let me see if I can share something. Let's see. I'm going to try to share something here, and I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. Messages, share. Do you see that? I don't think you do. I wanted to share with you some pictures that Johnny gave me of the baits that I'm going to be hunting. Messages, share. No, you won't let me do it. Johnny, I'm looking forward to seeing you next weekend. I'm looking forward to putting those Wraith 270 blinds up and sitting out there one night, if at least not two. Johnny says, you're going to wait and do the baits tomorrow. It's 87 degrees. I don't blame you for that, Johnny. Hello, Julie. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. Dave, how's the eye healing up? How's the eye healing up? Very well, I hope. Anyway, welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live. My name is Mike Avery. I'm live here on the Facebook page, the Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page, the YouTube channel, Vimeo, and also Twitter as well. Hello, Chris. Nice to have you along with us. Chris, of course, the guy who suggested the very first Wednesday Night Live that we did at Oscar and Joey's Roadhouse, at the time called Dixie Dave's Restaurant. It's going to be a while before we do those, huh? And Ross, my friend, is also in mourning as well as I am tonight. This is the first time, like I say, in at least a dozen years that I haven't gone to White River on a bear hunt. However, Johnny Bowler is getting me bear hunting in the UP, and that takes some of the sting out of it. I will. Oh, Jim. I can't even respond to that, Jim. He's ready for ice fishing. I can't even talk about that. Mullet chasing some walleye, Dan says. Good for you. So I'm really looking forward to this. With my recurve, 15 yards. Well, no more than 20 for sure. Johnny has sent me pictures, which I was trying to share you, and for some reason I can't. Johnny sent me pictures of a couple of baits he has set up. The bear already hitting at least one of them. So I will go up there next week and sit in those blinds and shoot some video. We'll see what's coming in, see if I can get an idea of what's out there. Now, I realize what's coming in now might not be what's coming in to those baits a month from now, but at least it's worth giving a try. Ross says, you too. Scott says, good evening. Have I found the perch yet on Saginaw Bay? No, because I haven't been out perch fishing yet. My last trip on Saginaw Bay was last Friday. I was out there with my grandson Carter, and we got one walleye and 3 sheephead, and that's when I said, I am done walleye fishing. I'm going to start looking for perch. Chris is headed up Sunday. Josh says, good evening. Well, good evening to you as well. Josh, how are you? Josh, have you been able to find any perch yet? Carl just got out of work. Nice to have you along with us, Carl. I hope you had a good day at work. It's always good to get out of work, isn't it, Carl? Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to give away from some Speedy Blaze, and it's B-L-A-Z-E. Some people thought I was saying Speedy Blade. It's Speedy Blaze, like a blazing fire, speedyblaze.com. And next week, we're going to announce a big contest with Speedy Blaze, Michigan brand meats, and Primal Tree Stands to give away one of the Wraith 270s. By the way, if you have one of the Wraith 270 blinds on order, like I do, and you're anxiously awaiting that, I hear the shipment is being slowed down a little bit by COVID, like everything else is. But I talked to Bob Ransom earlier in the week, and he said he thinks they're going out this week. So I will let you know as soon as I know. But hang in there. Fortunately, I have 2 prototype blinds that Bob gave me that I will be taking up to the Yoop next weekend, and we'll put those out. Oh, Josh, speaking of perch, says no perch yet. Work is crazy busy, but busy is good, right? Some reports of decent fish, though, got to put in the work to find them. Yeah. Tell you fishing, not. What I had to do, Dave, was go to cheater lenses in my sunglasses. That'll make you feel old, huh? You saw some Speedy Blaze at a Forward store while buying some Avery sticks. Well, Bill, you've pretty much covered them all, haven't you? Forward Corporation, Speedy Blaze, and Avery Hunter Sticks. That's the trifecta. That's the magic trifecta right there. What's Johnny saying? Mike, that second spot is set up for you. It's going to be smoking hot, so you can choose which one you want to sit, and I'll tell you the one you're going to... You can choose which one you want to sit, and I'll tell you the one you're going to. Fair enough. Johnny, I always defer to the expertise and the experience of the guides. Always. You tell me where you think I should sit, and that's where I'll sit. Wish you could turn up the mic on my phone with 20 feet in the air overlooking a bean field with a Vortex binos, seeing some brutes for this upcoming season. Well, Ray, you sound like you're in a good spot. Don't put up... you should have some earbuds or some AirPods or something like that so you could listen. Martin says he can't wait for the 270 to be delivered. I really like that blind. Yeah, it's a good blind. Hey, let me tell you who's coming up on the radio show this week. Lori Card, who is with us, by the way. Jim says it sounds like bear hunting is a lot of fun. Jim, I would bear hunt over whitetails, over turkeys, over anything. Bear hunting is my Jones. It's the way to go. Lori Card Stroick of Wild Card Outdoor Adventures, Wild Card Outdoors, is joining me. And here's what she is. Here's what she's talking about. Let me share the screen here and see if we can. There we go. And I think you'll see what I'm talking about right there. All right. That's Lori holding up a great big catfish that she noodled. Now, you know what noodling is, right? Where you reach under the water, you reach into the crevice, into the hole, and then you wait for the fish to bite on your hand and you pull it out. That's what Lori did right there. Lori Card-Stroik of Wild Card Outdoor Adventures. We're going to be talking with her about this very subject on the radio show this week. How cool is that? John says he and his dad have earphones in right now so we don't bother your brother and your mom. Bear hunting is the best. Free game sponsor to make sure hunter safety is complete. Shouldn't be too hard for them. Plus, put the weekend in a week where the deer season isn't running if need to be. Thanks again. Not a problem. And speaking of the Ask Avery segment, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Also, in the first hour of this week's show, Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News. How about elk? My son do a tag in Colorado. Congrats to your son. Everybody thinks Lori rocks. I think Lori rocks. Lori is braver than I am because I wouldn't do it. In hour number 2 of this week's show, Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet, bowhunterplanet.com joins me, Scott Keatsman from Linwood Taxidermy, and our Ask Avery segment this week. I'll get back to that in a minute. Well, that's the first thing I thought of, Bernie. I'd be worried about sticking my hand in a snapping turtle's mouth. Lori says, don't worry about it, because they only reach their hands into holes where there is no air pocket. If there's no air pocket, you can't have a snake or a turtle in there. I did not know that. Craig is seeing some big racks in Michigan farm fields lately. Good for you, Craig. Good for you. Nick, you grab a muskrat instead of a catfish. I didn't think about that. See, even Nick Ostrowski is a little bit creeped out by it, and Nick is pretty much a stud. Yeah, I'd be creeped out by it. So, Lori, again, congrats to you. In hour number 3, we're talking food plots with Nick Percy of Killer Food Plots, and then Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dave Miner. The Ask Avery segment this week. Captain Mike, have you ever been to Alaska? You're going in June. I'm assuming June of next year, Bill? I've been to Alaska twice, Bill. It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen on Earth. It's breathtakingly beautiful. Now, the second time I was in Alaska, I was there as a guest and at the bequest and request and the order of the Alaska DNR. And before you get worried, I was not in trouble. I was there to testify against a guide that we had went with who the Alaska DNR wanted him because he was not one of the most outstanding guides in Alaska. We'll leave it at that. So I've been to Alaska twice. Kodiak Island, by the way, is where I was. Breathtakingly beautiful. Breathtakingly beautiful. Johnny says, I'll be sending pictures and talking to you tomorrow on Friday. All right, Johnny, I'll look forward to that. Scott says, thank you for the radio spot today. Scott, it was my pleasure. Nice to have you along with us on the show. This week's Ask Avery segment comes to me from Cam Jones of Grayling, and he wants to know about what is the impact of predation on Michigan's moose population. Could we ever expect to have a moose season if the wolves keep the population down or even stop the population from expanding? Great question. You like my summer tan? That's my summer tan. There's my fishing tan right there. Okay, that's what I look like the rest of the year, and this is what I look like this time of year. Michigan moose are an interesting situation. When we got them in from Ontario, I'm not even going to put it back on. When we got them in from Ontario, 26 weeks pregnant, and she was noodling. She rocks. Yes, she does. We traded the backstory of how we got moose in Michigan, or at least this time around, is in the mid 80s, we traded turkeys to Ontario for moose. I think we came out ahead on that one. We went to Algonquin Provincial Park in Ontario and did what was called the moose lift. Biologists in helicopters flew over the Canadian wilderness, found moose from the air, dropped nets over them, tranquilized the animals. They cut the racks off the bulls, lifted them back up in the air in those nets, put them on crates, on trucks. They shipped them to Michigan, to the Upper Peninsula, to the Pashiki Grade. I think it was west of Marquette, if I remember right. And let them go. And they told us at the time we would have 1,000 moose in the Upper Peninsula by the year 2000. This is the mid-'80s. Our most recent moose survey, which was done in 2019, says we have roughly 500 moose in the UP. We never hit the 1,000 mark. Why is that? When I asked the DNR that question, they said, that's a good question. We're not quite sure, but some factors that might be involved are brain worm, which is fatal to moose, but not to deer, whitetails. It could be wolf predation was a factor. It could be the tough winters. It could be the fact that we're not enough bulls to get the cows pregnant. It could be the fact that the calves aren't living. They said, we're not exactly sure why. But they said the good news is the herd is growing at a rate of 2% per year. And so that's positive. Also along that line, interestingly, some DNR biologists say we could sustain a very limited moose hunt in the UP right now with those numbers. It would be very strict, even much more so than our elk hunt. What would it be? Maybe 1 bull and 10 cows or something like that. But they say we could do it. We just haven't done it yet. Ask Avery segment, by the way, brought to you each week by Security Credit Union, securitycu.org. Tom says, a lesson I learned a long time ago is don't guide the guide. That is the best advice you will ever have if you go on a paid hunt, because that guide or outfitter wants you to be successful. They have more experience in that area than you do. Listen to your guide, listen to your outfitter. They want you to be successful. Do not second guess your guide. You can question them, that's okay, but don't guide the guide. And don't be a pain in their rear ends. Kendall says, bring on a moose and a wolf hunt. Wouldn't that be nice? I agree with you, Scott. Hard winters don't matter much because moose don't migrate. They're tough. And they're so darn tall. They can walk around in 5 feet of snow. It would be, Dan, but don't get excited about it. We'll have a Michigan wolf hunt before we'll have a Michigan moose hunt. I'm not convinced we will ever have a Michigan moose hunt. Just like I don't think we'll ever have a Michigan sandhill crane hunt, which is very disappointing because I thought we were going to have one. And do you know why we don't have a Michigan sandhill crane hunt? And this is, I'm not talking out of school. This was not told to me off the record, and I'm not going to tell you who I attribute it to because it was at the very top tiers of our Michigan conservation echelon. The reason we will never have a sandhill crane hunt here in Michigan, or at least not in the near future, is because the DNR is so strapped for resources dealing with COVID and dealing with CWD and EHD and TB and whatever else is out there, that they don't have the resources to fight HSUS and PETA over a sandhill crane hunt. That's the reason. Yes, and don't bring any crawlers on the Angler Quest. Good evening, Dan. How are you? Well, Jeff, it's always nice to have you along with it. Appreciate it. Dan says no support from hunters. That might be a factor, Dan, but the fighting from the antis and the fact that DNR just doesn't have the will and the resources and the manpower and the funding to fight it right now. Interesting, huh? Little behind the scenes news there from Avery, from the big guy. But not as big as I used to be. By the way, I've had nothing but positive reaction to my article and all that stuff about the fact that I had bariatric surgery to lose weight. So thank you for that. Thank you for not telling me I took the easy way out, trying to make me feel like an idiot. Fishing. I've been walleye fishing, not doing any good. I'm switching. Hello, Kevin. Switching over to perch here pretty soon. I should be salmon fishing. Captain Paul Schlafly of Riverside Charters in Manistee got a 34.5 pound salmon last week. And I heard just this morning of a 36 pound fish south of there in the last week or so too. Farmers would love a sandhill crane hunt. Absolutely they would. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. It's 20 minutes here, and I haven't even opened it up for a Speedy Blaze giveaway. Shall we do that? Ed, are you still with us? This is what Speedy Blaze is, by the way, my friends. Oops, I got to go back here, and I got to share that screen with you. We're going to give away Speedy Blaze here. This is Speedy Blaze. It is speedyblaze.com. It is a wonderful product for, see, I can't load it after I do that. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, Ed is with us. Very, very popular. You have right now 2 minutes. If you have won in the last 2 weeks, thank you, Lori. If you have won anything from me in the last 2 weeks, do not enter the contest, please. And we'll leave it to your honor. If you've won anything in the last 2 weeks here on Wednesday Night Live on Mike Avery Outdoors, please don't enter the contest. If not, make your comments right now. And you've got 2 minutes on why you want to win some Speedy Blaze. Ed Bolanowski will choose the winner. Scott says 35 is becoming the new 25. Remember what is a big deal to catch a 25-pound king? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I remember when we used to have a few 30-pound kings. They went away, and if you caught a 25-pound king, that was huge. Absolutely, I remember it. Been a busy summer. How much weight have you lost? I lost 115 pounds total, Dan. 115 pounds total. Just got yours today. Can't wait. Going to record music. Good luck. Oh, your Speedy Blaze. Yeah. There's that tan line again. That looks goofy. I'll put my watch back on. Make your comments about why you want to win some Speedy Blaze. 12 years ago, you caught a 31-pounder. Eric, that's a big, big fish. My mom caught a 30-pounder and change. I think it was 32 or 33 many years ago, and we had it mounted. She still has it at her house as a memento of that. We got it to him for Christmas. Sorry, I'm fussing around with this. There we go. Boom. What does this one say? Excellent Kings last Friday out of Pentwater, 11 Kings and 5 were over 20 pounds. That's a wonderful day, Josh. Wow, that's a good day. A minute 30 on your Speedy Blaze comments. I don't believe that. I do not believe that, Joe, because I had the DNR's cougar expert on the show last week, and he thinks there are 2 cougars in Michigan. Now, there might be 6 sightings of those 2, but don't confuse that and say that there are 6 different cougars, because I'm trying to think of his name. He was on with me just last week. I asked him, how many cougars do we have in Michigan? And he said 2. I love to win Speedy Blaze. You got a minute. You got 1 minute on the Speedy Blaze. It is a great way. Biggest salmon was 29 pounds. Speedy Blaze for the last 3 or 4 years, or 3 or 4 days. There we go. 30 seconds on the Speedy Blaze. I would love to see a sandhill crane on as well. 20 seconds on the Speedy Blaze. And don't worry, I'm not going to be so obnoxious on the buzzer tonight. 10 seconds on the Speedy Blaze. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Speedy Blaze would be great. 3, 2, 1. To see, wasn't that disappointing? Wasn't that disappointing? You get on me because I do the obnoxiously long buzzer. And don't you feel like you didn't get your money's worth tonight from that buzzer? You're going to walk away from this show tonight going, I feel like I missed something. Be careful what you wish for. Do I practice the buzz? No, I don't. Ed Bolanowski jumped right on it. He said, Mary Canfield. Thank you for that, being so quick, Ed. Mary Canfield is the winner of this week's Speedy Blaze. Congrats to you, Mary. If you would, send me in a private message here on the Facebook page your shipping address, and I will pass it along to Ed, or send it directly to Ed, either way. Your shipping address so Ed can get some Speedy Blaze off to you, and you're going to love it. I'm telling you, Michigan-based Speedy Blaze is the best. And next week, we're announcing a new contest with Speedy Blaze, with Michigan brand meats and Primal Tree Stands, their Wraith 270 see-through ground blind. I don't even know the details on this fully yet. I'm waiting for Ed to tell me, but we'll start that out next week. and we'll give those away at the end of September. You missed it? That's how quick it was, Jeff. It was quick this week. I felt like I was right on the verge the last couple of weeks of just being overly obnoxious. Not that being overly obnoxious has ever been a concern of mine, I guess. How do I get one of those big guy lures, and what colors are they available? Just kidding, but seriously, what modifications did you make? If I would have known you were going to ask this, Craig, I would have pulled up that picture. But I took, and here's the reason why. I like the Fire Tiger color scheme on my Flicker Shads. And I would prefer to buy all my lures at Jay's Sporting Goods, but I needed some Fire Tigers. I was in Saginaw. I wasn't going to be up to Jay's, so I went into Cabela's store there, and I bought a handful of their Fire Tiger number 7 Flicker Shads. And after fishing with them a couple of times, I realized, you know how the traditional Fire Tiger paint scheme has an orange stripe along the bottom? These Cabela's Flicker Shads had no orange on them at all. I thought, well, I wonder if I was to modify these. So Carter, my grandson, and I went out. We bought a bunch of permanent markers, Sharpies. I got red, I got purple, I got pink, I got blue, I got yellow. So I took the Fire Tiger and I modified it. And I took some and I made an orange stripe along the belly with some orange some marks on the side. This time around, I'll get to that in a second here. And the one that caught the fish, I actually did it with red. And I thought it was pretty cool. Sam Austin, Sam from Jay's Sporting Goods. Sam, the guy, Sam from Jay's, yeah, who set up my recurve. Sam says, hey, Mike, I pulled the longbow out yesterday. Man, I forgot how much fun it is to shoot. I think I'm going to put a little more time in the woods this year with it. Good for you, Sam. I am loving the one that you set up for me. The stock Fire Tiger Flicker Shad with the orange tail is an amazing color combination. Yeah, I agree, Josh. I love Fire Tiger, and if you can get some orange on the Fire Tiger, all the better. I resented the fact that I had to modify these baits. Yeah, I am so looking forward to my bear hunt. Now, another thing here. I'm not a big fan of pro football at all. I could care less, but I'm a huge fan of college football, and it absolutely breaks my heart that we're not going to have any college football this fall. I understand completely. I'm not criticizing anybody for doing it, but it breaks my heart. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have Saturdays free now. What am I going to do with that time this year? Well, one option would be to spend more time deer hunting. Nope, that's not going to happen. Just not interested. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who has turned deer hunting into a competition. Thank you, everyone who has politicized deer hunting. Thank you, everyone who has taken the fun out of deer hunting. Nope, it's not going to be deer hunting. Another option, which I could be very excited about, would be fishing the river for walleye a lot this fall. Now that I could get very excited about it. Small game, yes. Why not get out and do some rabbit or squirrel hunting? We forget about that. I forget about that. And the other thing that I thought might get your attention is maybe do some more shooting. I have range time. Yeah, Dave, range time. I love shooting handguns, and I shoot them a fair amount. But I want to spend more time behind an AR-15. I have 2 AR-15s, and AR does not mean automatic rifle. They're not automatic. They're not machine guns. Okay. They're semi-auto, Armalite AR-15s. They shoot a 223. Mine shoot 223s, 223s, a very small bullet. I will be hunting, yeah, Patton, but Paul, but am I going to spend more time deer hunting than I did last year? No. If I spend 2 days, 3 days in the woods deer hunting, I'll be fine. I agree, Brian. I should be taking advantage of that. But I'm shooting an AR-15. I have 2 AR-15s. One of them has probably 50 rounds through it at the most, probably 30, and the other one's never been shot. And I would like to spend some more time behind those AR-15s, learning about them, getting comfortable with them. I think they're a fascinating platform. They're a very versatile gun. So maybe I'll spend more time on the range. Duck hunting and goose hunting. Goose hunting possibly, duck hunting absolutely not. I respect waterfowl hunters. You guys are hardcore. Duck hunting is the hardest thing I've ever done. It is the most work and the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in the outdoors. But this was duck hunting on Saginaw Bay, breaking ice to get out there, sitting in the sleet. It's not for me. I realize it's for a lot of people, and it's a wonderful part of our outdoor heritage. And this part of the state is steeped in rich history and tradition for waterfowl hunting. I've done it. It's not for me. But my friends who are waterfowl hunters say, Avery, what you need to do is go out and do some goose hunting in the fields. Don't go out in the bay. They said that's just plain a lot of work. Go out in the fields and go early season goose hunting, which, by the way, starts here in just a couple of weeks. AR-15, yeah, a lot of fun. And I need to get better with. Spray some UV glow on your flicker shads. Jay's doesn't carry it, but you'll be surprised on your catch ratio. Ask Brian to restock it. Awesome stuff. Interesting, because I know a lot of manufacturers put UV material on their lures from the shop. Something to think about. Thank you. Battery died. Who won? Mary Canfield won. Josh says, that's why you bought 2 German short hairs and now hunt pheasants and other upland birds. A lot easier to walk through grasses in the woods. Ed Bolanowski says, early goose season is amazing. By the way, Ed Bolanowski from Speedy Blaze, thank you to you and Sherm Hubbard. Your generosity each week, I do certainly appreciate that. Congrats. Tim says, congrats, Mary. Pig hunting. Here's an interesting. Do you mean wild boar hunting, or do you mean pig hunting in an enclosure, Carl? Which do you mean? Reason enough not to hunt ducks. Yeah, absolutely. Wild boar, and I will talk more about this Michigan wild boar on next week's Ask Avery segment. At one time, the Michigan DNR said we had 3,000 to 5,000 wild boars in Michigan, and they predicted that they were going to take over the state if we didn't do something drastic. Well, guess what? This was about 12 years ago. They made these predictions, and they haven't taken over the state. In fact, you would be hard pressed to find a wild boar in Michigan these days. More on that next week. Paulie Phillips, my friend, how are you? Paul, I was just talking about, since I don't have college football this fall on Saturdays, maybe I was going to spend some more time at the range. And in particular, my AR-15s, 223. I'm fascinated by that platform. I know you don't compete with AR-15s, but I know in your military, you spend some time behind the military equipment, the M16, I would suspect. Paul, let's get you on the radio show next week, by the way. I know you've got some interesting things going on, and I would like that very much. Craig says, where? Where what, Craig? Where what? Raber Bay checking in from the Eastern U. How are you, Raber Bay? Nice to have you along with us. Feral pig in Michigan would be good, though. It would not be good if we had feral pigs. If you're not familiar with the Armistice Day Blizzard of 1940, Google it. Amazing story that needs to be made into a movie. Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate that. We can whip it up, Paul says. Also, if you're taking a look and doing research about storms here in Michigan, check out the storm that hit Platte Bay in 1968. That was a very interesting storm. It was very early in the Great Lakes salmon fishery. The boaters didn't have the equipment. I saw that, Paul. I saw that. How cool is that? The boaters didn't have the equipment that we do these days. They didn't have the knowledge of being on the Great Lakes that we do these days. And it was a terrible, terrible storm. Something that I would hope would not be repeated these days. Kevin says, weekend rundown, please. We'll be in the truck Saturday morning listening to 98.5. Okay, I'll give it to you again real quick, Kevin. We start the show out with Lori Card of Wild Card Outdoor Adventures, and Lori is talking about this particular thing right here. She's talking about noodling for giant catfish. Lori is braver than I am. I'll tell you that right now. Then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News will join me in hour number 2. Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet, bowhunterplanet.com. Then Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy. This week's Ask Avery segment talking about why did the moose population in the UP not take off as promised. And in hour number 3, Nick Percy of Killer Food Plots and Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire, Dave Miner. That's the rundown for the show this weekend. I was supposed to do a Jay Sporting Goods podcast with Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives. Chris couldn't do it. We're going to do that next week instead. And by the way, when I go to the Youp next week to see Johnny Bowler, I'm going to stop by Rapid River and talk with Chris Durson then. Pigs are a bad thing. In Texas, they tear up land, mess up deer hunting. I've hit 3, messed up my truck. I bet. Yeah, we don't want pigs here. Try salty dog rabbit hunts, Mike. Tell me more about that, Raver Bay. Tell me more about that. Yeah, what is it? Salty dog rabbit hunts. What is it? Sounds interesting. The name is interesting, right? And in marketing, isn't that part of what supposedly there's meteor showers happening? If you're night fishing, check it out. Also, thank you, Brian. Also, if you're around Saginaw Bay tonight, there's supposed to be some military activities, some military training sessions. So what a cool night to be on the water. I've been on the bay and had a couple of warthogs come over, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive. And whenever I'm on the bay and I have those military aircraft come over, I always say, God bless America, and thank you that I'm on their side, or that they're on my side. Kevin, you are more than welcome. I appreciate you being along with us on another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Hey, by the way, I tried something different this morning from the radio studio, and I used this whole StreamYard platform, which allowed me to go live to multiple social media outlets, and I liked it. I've been doing it here in my office for the last several weeks, but I did it in the radio studio for the first time. Had to put my iPad up on a cardboard box to make it work, but it worked. The audio was a little bit overmodulated, but not too bad. Oh, that's right, Lori, you're out there. Yeah, be watching. Be watching. It's supposed to happen from 9 o'clock tonight till midnight. Or was it 6 o'clock? I saw the story on MLive. I think it was 9 till midnight. So it should be very impressive, and you're going to be right there to see it. Your killer food plots are looking great this year. I bet they are. Thank you to Nick Percy of Killer Food Plots for joining me on the radio show this week. Garden City, I believe, awesome person, Cottontails. Well, that does sound like fun. Now, I suspect, though, Raver Bay, that they don't start hunting until the snow flies. Probably not until, December-ish or so? That would be fun. What else, my friends? I got just a couple of more minutes here. Let's see. Fishing, walleye, perch, salmon, bear. Oh, but bear rug. I can't turn my phone around right now. A word of advice. If you ever shoot a bear and you get it made into a rug, make sure that the mouth on the bear is closed. If you got it on the wall, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to put a bear rug on the floor, make sure the mouth is closed rather than open, showing all those teeth. It is, it's a hazard to people's toes if you leave the mouth open. The badger. Did you see the picture of the dead badger I posted here on the Facebook page? In my 62 years here in Michigan, I've never seen a badger, dead or alive. I posted a picture that somebody sent me from Saginaw County of a road-killed badger, and a lot of you came out of the woodwork and said, man, we've seen a lot of badgers in Michigan. Avery, where have you been? What have you been doing? Well, I haven't seen one ever. I've seen the holes. I've seen the destruction they cause. I've been walking through fields and fortunately just missed stepping into a badger hole, but I've never seen a badger. They look like they might want to be a little bit mean. They look like something I might probably want to avoid. They just look like a really ornery critter for sure. What else? I think that's my list. Got a couple of quick minutes here. If you want to shoot me another question or so, we can do that. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Lots in Albert Township. Randall, where is Albert Township? Took a break. I want a flicker shed and Dr. Death. Hey, anything called Dr. Death would be an effective bait, right? Hunter safety instructors are now getting COVID training, and field days will be opening up soon. Jim, that's wonderful. That's good to know. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Took a break out in the heat. Came in to listen. From Wisconsin, never seen a badger. Meanest other than a snake. Chad says they are mean. I know they're not mean like Wolverines, but that's what they remind me of. Randall says they're like bears. They see you and they take off. That's good. I'm glad bears see us and take off. As much as I love bears, I don't want them to be aggressive. How's my shooting the stick and string coming? Bear season right around the corner. Kendall doing very well. To be honest with you, I haven't shot in the last week or so. If it's hot tomorrow, I will probably not shoot tomorrow. As soon as it cools off, I'll shoot. I'll be ready. Believe me, I will be ready. I saw this. Some sturgeon were washing up on the shore of northern Lake Michigan by Sleeping Bear Dunes. I did see that. And as far as, last I saw, they didn't know what it was. Has anybody heard anything differently? Both of your bear rugs have open mouths. And how are your toes, Bernie? Have you had any? My daughter, God bless her, when she was at U of M doing her undergrad, she had a bear rug on the floor of her dorm. How cool is that? And the mouth was open, and one of her girlfriends walked into it and had to go to the hospital, to ER, and get stitches. Yeah, I feel, listen, are you ever truly dialed in with a recurve or with a longbow? Are you ever truly dialed in? I don't know. Rob says about 2009, he was walking his dogs and saw one in their hole in Holly. Huh. Honey badgers. Montmorency County, you've seen them? Where's that one? Randall says Montmorency County. Oh, they're on the wall. See, there you go. If you got them on the wall, it doesn't matter. They look cool when they're on the wall with an open mouth, just if you've got them on the floor. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me on another edition of Wednesday Night Live. I truly enjoy doing these things. I hope you enjoy spending a little time with me as well. Do I ever smoke any of the walleye I've caught? Years ago, Doug, when I used to eat more fish than I do now, yeah, we used to smoke walleye. And to be honest with you, it wasn't very good. It was okay, but walleye is so good. I caught so many fish and I was keeping so many fish. I thought, well, we'll try smoking them. It was okay, but I'd rather smoke salmon or lake trout or something like that. Lori, again, you are the woman. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me on the radio show as well. You can always reach me. Remember, congrats to Mary. Send us your shipping information, Mary. You can always reach me with a question, a comment, a concern, a gripe, a question for Ask Avery. Any pictures you want to send me. Actually, if you want to send a picture or a video, just share it directly to the page, the Facebook page. You can get a hold of me via email. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. My website is mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Thank you for joining me this evening, folks, on another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a great time, and we'll talk with you soon right here on the Outdoor Magazine